your IELTS exam is fast approaching and you're wondering what to expect on the big day, you've come to the right place. Over the years, I've taken this test a number of times, both on a computer and on paper, and I've gathered a few insights that are useful for you to know in advance, so you can take your exam with confidence. It's Asia. Let's get started. First, let's talk about what you should bring with you and what's better left at home. The most crucial document to carry on the exam day is your passport or national ID you used to register for the test. Remember, you can't use any other form of identification. And this same ID is required for your speaking test as well. If you're taking the paper-based IELTS, consider bringing your own pencils and erasers. While the test center will provide pencils, you might prefer using your own trusty tools. And a good soft eraser can be a lifesaver if you need to correct something in the listening or reading sections. Without one, you're out of luck. For IELTS writing, you might want to bring a pen. I find that I write a bit faster with a pen than with a pencil. And if you want to correct something, you can simply cross it out and write on top instead of wasting time on using the eraser. When I took my exams in London, I was allowed to bring my own pen for the writing section, and the official rules allow pens. However, I've heard that some candidates in other countries were told to use pencils only. When it comes to refreshments, you can only have a clear bottle of water with you in the exam room. And make sure to remove any stickers from the bottle beforehand. It must be entirely clear or you won't be allowed to bring it inside. As for your personal belongings, your watch is a no-go in the exam room. You have to leave it outside. Other valuables like keys and wallets should also be stowed away in a designated room or a locker. So it's a good idea to leave things you don't need at home. Dealing with stress is a key part of successful exam performance. So here are some tips to help you cope with the pressure. First of all, stop studying and relax the night before the test. You've put in the hard work, so allow your knowledge to settle. One thing you can do instead is immersing yourself in an English-speaking environment. Watch a movie in English and listen to your morning news in English. If you don't understand everything, don't stress out about it. Your brain is still at work. And not having enough sleep can affect your performance. So try to go to bed early and have a good night's rest. In the morning, have a hearty breakfast to fuel your brain. But be cautious about consuming too much caffeine or energy drinks. Combined with stress, they can lead to jitters and difficulty concentrating. There is another reason to avoid large drinks before your exam. There are no breaks. From the moment you go through your ID check, you're expected to stay in the exam room for about 3 hours. And if you really need a bathroom break, you must take time from one of your sections. And bear in mind that you're not allowed to go out during the instructions or in the last 10 minutes of the section. I did it once. So first you must raise your hand, and an invigilator will show you to a table where they record your name and the time you leave the room. Then they take you to the restroom. My invigilator was extremely nice, and he was almost running along the corridor to help me get back quickly. But despite his efforts, it still took me more than 5 minutes, plus all the distractions. After you arrive at the test center, get your passport checked and have your photo taken, you might wonder about the order of the sections. It depends on the test provider. If it's the British Council or an IDP computer-based test, You tackle listening, then reading and writing. For an IDP paper-based test, you do writing, followed by reading, and finally listening. Your speaking test may take place on the same day as your main exam or up to 7 days before or after, and it's a face-to-face interview with an examiner. During the test, invigilators will provide clear instructions. Just follow their lead. They'll tell you when to start and finish tasks. Don't linger after they tell you to put your pen down, or your last few answers may be disqualified. So always transfer your listening and reading answers in plenty of time. As for turning pages in your question booklet, you can do that at your convenience. For example, after you finish the first part of your listening test, don't wait for instructions to go to part 2. Turn the page and start reading new questions immediately. Similarly, in IELTS writing, you can freely switch between task 1 and task 2. If you prefer, you can start with task 2 and then do your task 1. That's something I personally prefer. In which order to tackle the tasks is up to you, but I recommend finishing both before proofreading any of them. Don't start proofreading your task 1 before you even start writing your task 2. You see what I mean? What about taking notes? If you're taking IELTS on paper, you can write on the question sheets. These notes won't be reviewed. You can take notes by hand even in IELTS on computer. Just use the instructions sheet and pencil provided. Now, let's talk about time management, a very important part of your exam. As I mentioned before, you're not allowed to have a watch. In IELTS on paper, there will be a clock on the wall. At the beginning of your reading and writing sections, don't forget to check what time the section begins to know how much time you have left. I suggest writing it down. Invigilators will tell you when you have 10 minutes left and either 5 or 2 minutes. If you take IELTS on computer, the countdown will be right on the screen in front of you. In the listening section on paper, you have extra 10 minutes for transferring your answers. But on computer, it's just 2 minutes. And in IELTS reading, there is no extra time. You must transfer your answers within the allotted 60 minutes. So to be on the safe side, I suggest transferring your answers after each reading section. In IELTS on paper, answer sheets will be provided before each section, and invigilators will guide you through the process of filling in your personal information, including your name and candidate number, before your time begins. But there is one point to keep in mind. In IELTS writing, you'll get one answer sheet per task. Depending on your handwriting, that may not be enough for your task 2. And if you need the next sheet, you have to raise your hand and ask for one. If you do, don't forget to fill in your details again, otherwise your second sheet won't be marked. And obviously, it takes a bit of time. So I suggest trying to fit your essay on a single sheet. Now, let's discuss IELTS speaking, which requires a bit of special preparation. Your speaking test may take place on the same day as your main exam or on a different date. And if the first word you say that day in English will be in the exam room, you may discover you're feeling a bit rusty. That's not good. You should warm up in advance. Speak aloud in English no matter the topic outside the test center or at home before you leave. This will help you articulate better and speak more fluently. I know that a lot of candidates feel anxious about the speaking exam, and to be honest, I feel nervous myself every time I take it. Don't beat yourself up over it. Instead, take deep, slow breaths, which are proven to calm nerves. Another exercise that is also proven to work and is used by artists and professional sports people is visualization. Picture yourself taking the test and that it goes the best possible way. You're sitting in the corridor, feeling confident and ready for it. Then you enter the exam room and you feel calm and friendly. You answer each question freely, smiling at the examiner and handling any unexpected hiccups with ease. Most examiners I've seen were really nice and really tried to make me feel comfortable. But one seemed grumpy and a bit argumentative. It almost felt like he enjoyed interrupting my answers, and the whole experience felt quite intimidating. And you know what? I received the same score I got with nice examiners, 8.5. My students told me about examiners not maintaining eye contact or looking out of the window. Irrespective of where they're looking, they're perfectly capable of assessing your answers correctly. Just don't let that affect your performance. Do your part. Be friendly and talkative. The whole experience of taking the IELTS exam may feel a bit daunting, but remember that millions of people successfully pass it every year. And I hope this information helps you feel better prepared for the test, and I wish you the best of luck. As the saying goes, break a leg. But I mean that figuratively. I hope you do exceptionally well. And thank you so much for watching me today. Good luck with your exam. Bye! That was my lamp. I think it's time to finish.